Carter, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could take a moment of personal privilege, I want to announce that 11:09 a.m. at Piedmont Hospital, Mary Emma Carter, the first child of my youngest son, was born, and my sixth grandchild. So
Congratulations.
very, very happy. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Gosh, let me start off somewhere. Ms. McKenna, thank you very much. I found your testimony, I read it, and I found it very fascinating. And I want you to know that I agree with a lot of it. I think it hits at some of the concerns that I've got. In your testimony, first of all, you say, first, it is vital to recognize that communities urgently need help to adapt to the changing climate. It is too late to focus solely on reducing emissions, and I have to agree with you there. I think that's a great point. I have the honor and privilege of representing the entire coast of Georgia, over 100 miles of pristine coastline. It's where I've lived all my life and where I intend to live the rest of my life, and it means a whole lot to me to make sure. I've always said that we have to do three things. We have to practice mitigation, adaptation, and innovation. And I have to give credit where credit's due. My good friend from Alabama sitting beside me was the first one to say that I heard it from, and I've been saying it ever since. And it is true. It's something I believe in. You also said that in your testimony, U.S. climate adaptation assistance should build on and reinforce our other development assistance to prevent conflict, hunger, and poverty. And I agree with you on that, too. I think that's a great point. My question, though, is this: if the developing world is forced to use renewable solar and wind energy, would it increase prosperity or simply raise cost?
Thank you for that question. I actually recently moved to the area from Georgia, so I agree with you on that pristine coastline, and I miss it. As I mentioned earlier, we have seen a steady decrease in energy poverty, and it has been mostly due to renewable energies and rapid growth in decentralized energy processes. The rapidly declining cost of those has also been enabled those usages of those. And for lower income communities, renewables may be the only real chance to end energy poverty. So we're continuing to see leapfrogging due to technology. We have things like increased financing for the REACH, ongoing innovation to meet those needs, and improved policies will allow communities to make their own choices and to do the most cost-effective things.
Would you agree? What about higher energy costs? With higher energy costs, are they going to help to prevent conflict and hunger and poverty, or do just the opposite?
Yeah, higher energy costs are not helpful, which is why it's important to have multiple sources of energy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mr. Hernick, I want to go to you. I want to ask you, as you are well aware, as we're all aware, since President Biden has taken office, he's done a number of things: canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, rejoined the Paris Agreement, ended energy leases on federal land, removed sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, encouraged OPEC to pump more oil, and we're pumping less, encouraging them to pump more. I mean, it baffles me. He's proposed taxing natural gas, penalizing the use of all fossil fuels through the SEP plan and others. First of all, I want to ask you, if all of these actions stay in place, all of them that he has taken action on so far, and the proposed ones are signed into law, will we still meet the climate goals set by the Paris Agreement?
Congressman, to achieve the climate goals set in the Paris Agreement, we need to bring the whole world along with us. And I think that that's part of the challenge, is that we cannot sacrifice the U.S. economy to achieve these goals alone. We need to take it with a global view on how we can reduce emissions the most, bring people out of poverty, meet their energy security needs, and do it while growing jobs and economic opportunity here in the United States. Some of those proposals that you mentioned will deploy more renewables here in the United States. But this morning I met with the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce and some folks from Twin Metals, Minnesota, that came in, and they're going to be unable to produce and open a mine in northern Minnesota that's adjacent to the Boundary Waters, a beautiful area that we want to preserve and protect. But if we're not able to mine and develop critical minerals and resources in the United States, we're going to fail to meet what is an economic growth opportunity here too. And so that's where an all of the above approach is absolutely necessary.
Great. And How effective has the Paris Agreement been on reducing emissions in other countries and global emissions as a whole?
Not
thus
at all.
far?
Not at all. Not at all effective. And I think that that's an important thing to recognize, is that even President Obama's Clean Power Plan that never came into being set a goal, and the United States achieved that goal without the mandate 10 years ahead of schedule. And that's because of federal policy as it relates to tax incentives, federal policy as it relates to innovation, a lot of state action, and the action of corporate America. And that's something I do want to talk a lot about. There are many, many companies, electric power utilities, that are driving emissions down, headed to net zero. One statistic that I'll leave you all with is that right now, 75% of American households are served by an energy utility that's on the path to net zero by mid-century. We don't need mandates if utilities are interested in heading in this direction already. 75% of Americans.
Great point. Thank you, and I yield back.